This video is brought to you by Huawei App Gallery. Stay tuned to the end of the video for more information.
Do you often find yourself questioning the class you picked on Chronicle of Infinity? Do you wish there would have been a tier list to help you have made the right choice whenever you started the game? Well, maybe I could do that. The gameplay of Chronicle of Infinity is chaotic and unforgiving. There's a plethora of recurring functions and features that can take several hours to complete. If you're not careful of which class you choose, then this could be the difference between a fun game for you to play and just another daily chore. Nearly 95% of the gameplay aspects involve fighting enemies with a limited scope of abilities. If you wind up picking a class because of their appearance, neglecting their ability strengths and weaknesses, then you could find yourself mindlessly spamming your skills without a care in the world. This will probably leave you bored and uninstalling the game shortly after, or in general you will just suck at it. So let's pick a class that you enjoy while also making sure that we don't pick a class with a deficit in the gameplay we enjoy. There's 3 classes to choose from and they're all pretty different, so I will quickly generalize their gameplay by describing their abilities while effectively comparing their PvE and PvP effectiveness to place them on a tier list. First, let's talk about mobility. In both PvE and PvP there will be enemy attacks that you must avoid. After successfully dodging the attack, you will need to re-engage the enemy as soon as possible. There will also be hazardous areas you must avoid, disengaging your character from the danger zone whenever necessary. This can be accomplished easier with a proper gap closing ability. A gap closer is considered any attack or ability that displaces your character to a target position. All 3 classes have such an ability. Now with all of that out of the way, let's get into the meat of the tier list. We'll start with the crowd favorite, Dragoon. Dragoon has by far the slowest animation and least range in their gap closer. This is because Dragoon is a hardier class that can take some punishment, so their slow movement is not as detrimental. The animation does a small hop towards the target location. In PvP, there is not much necessity for a tank. All players are able to take care of themselves in PvE, so you simply need to dodge efficiently and do a decent amount of damage to help your allies. The Dragoon is strongest in group PvP when you can bait the enemy team to attack you instead of your ally Arcania and Phantoms. Abilities are easy to miss. In general, Dragoon is slightly below average than the other classes in nearly every way. They won't do as much damage as the other classes, and they aren't much better at surviving without a proper escape. With all of these facts considered, I have placed Dragoon on the C tier for PvE. Low damage, low mobility, and high survivability are not PvE features. For PvP, I can assign Dragoon a B tier. Abilities are easily dodged, but a Dragoon can outlast a Phantom easily, yet they will have trouble fighting a smart Arcania player. Phantom has a teleporting gap closer. There's minimal stall time before the animation, but a slight pause at the final position. This means that you could possibly leave yourself open to a counterattack with a poorly used gap closer. Phantom playstyle is burst damage oriented, so the ability would probably be best used to finish off someone trying to escape your initial onslaught. Phantom abilities render the Phantom unable to move while performing long animations. In PvP, this class is feared by low-level players. The burst of a Phantom can melt a player and bosses below your power with ease. Only whenever you get into PvP strategy do they start to fall off. The in-lag on a Phantom's abilities essentially makes them sitting ducks while they perform attacks. This can be bad for both PvE and PvP as it makes it difficult for you to escape hazards. Though the damage output of a combo more than makes up for the time lost, the in-game hazards are not to be taken lightly and must be avoided at all costs. The burst damage of a Phantom's ability when properly used can be deadly to an Arcania player, but again they will struggle against a veteran Arcania player's mobility. For these reasons I have assigned a Phantom an A tier in PvP and a C tier for PvE. Lastly, the Arcania. The Arcania gets the pleasure of abilities lingering around her. This turns the gap closer from an escape ability into a trap. You can launch continuous projectiles complementary of the gap closer. This gives Arcania slightly more utility and control over the battlefield. With minimal in-lag at the end of the cast and quick animation, the Arcania mobility is the best available. In PvE and PvP, an Arcania player runs nuanced rotations and abilities. This means there is not a certain order you have to use your skills, giving Arcania a more fluid gameplay style. Arcania's high mobility makes them ideal for hard PvE bosses. Large groups will be easily subdued by the Arcania superior movement skills. Bosses can be consistently outmaneuvered this way and you ensure constant damage with abilities that linger. In PvP, this is by far the most superior class. Only ever challenged by a clever Phantom, Arcania PvP is unmatched. You can take advantage of a Phantom in-lag and plant them in a trap. Dragoons will chase you down, but their predictable ability pathing makes them an easy target for battlefield traps as well. Arcania PvE sits at a comfortable A tier, but Arcania PvP is definitely an S tier. So, here's the finished list. In summary, I find Arcania to be the best class in the game. They perform better than both the Dragoon and Phantom in PvE and PvP. If you don't really care about meta efficiency, then it could be a toss-up between Dragoon and Phantom. Phantom may be slightly better than Dragoon in PvP if you plan to fully engage in your character's abilities and strategy, or if you just want to mindlessly skank through the game's content at a snail's pace, then Dragoon, at least in my opinion, is the best looking class to do it with.
Now I'd like to take a moment to thank this video's sponsor, Huawei App Gallery. Huawei App Gallery is an app hub similar to the Play Store. Just like the Play Store has promotions, so does Huawei App Gallery. And luckily for you, the sponsor is tied in with the video, as we have some pretty sweet promos for Chronicle of Infinity on Huawei App Gallery. Anytime from now until May 31st, you can get a free coupon every 24 hours. By reaching minimum purchase requirements, you are able to claim coupons for money back every day. That means that by buying the packs in-game, you're actually making some of that money back. Then you can use those funds for more packs. Huawei users are eligible for bonus VIP programs with values up to 1,620 euros in coupons. Even for non-Huawei members, you can still join the Game Center monthly loyal rewards for up to 500 euros in coupons per month. Anyone that knows my channel knows Huawei App Gallery is a trustworthy source and worth the time to become familiar with. I personally recommend using the App Gallery myself separate from this endorsement to help min-max accounts for many games using their various promotions. Links for the gallery and promotions are in the description.
And that wraps up the Chronicle of Infinity PvE and PvP tier list. If there's something I missed or forgot, then let me know in a comment for next time. Like and subscribe if possible, and other than that, y'all, that's gonna do it for me today, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.